The first question, we're going to get to the fan questions. And once again, if you want your email read, your question read out, email questionsfordutch@gmail.com. And this fella, Garrett Hernandez, did just that. He said, any chance you can ask Dutch about this clip from the Cornette show? Now, I'm not going to play the clip from the Cornette show, but Dutch, you have watched this. So can you explain the gist of the clip and tell me how true or otherwise it is?
Well, let me ask this. Why can't you play it? Because of intellectual...
Something like that. I think technically we could, but I'm just not going to. So
intellectual content.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Somebody asked Cornette, was it about... It was about Dixie Carter too?
Yeah. Shall I? Okay, I'll be the fan. I'll be the fan writing in. And it was something like, hey, Jim, did Dutch ever tell you something to the effect of that he saw or he heard that someone saw Dixie Carter, Karen Angle, and Pacman Jones in some sort of sordid menage a trois when all three of those were in TNA at the time? And apparently you were the source of this information, supposedly.
Well, I am not the source of this information because I never said this, because it never happened. And I never walked in on anybody, nor did I know anybody walking in on a situation such as that. So I'm going to have to plead totally innocent of having ever uttered those words of a menage a trois. Can you imagine that though? But I'm not going to go there. I never said it. It never happened. And I think Jim on the show says he never heard me say that.
Mm-hmm. Because you two used to ride, what, was it to the hotel and back together?
No, we would go to Orlando. I would fly in. Jimmy would drive in. Jimmy has this strange fetish. It's not so much of a fetish that he hated to fly. And that's why he would drive everywhere. So for him to drive from Louisville, Kentucky to Orlando, Florida, you know how far that is? That's about 600 miles or 550. It's a long way. And he would spend the night on the way down. Then he would come to Orlando, spend the night. And then he'd do TV for 2 days. And then he'd start back, and he would be gone almost a week just to come down to do TNA and TNA TV. And where I would ride with him to the taping facility, which was at Universal, he would be at the same hotel as I would, and his car would be there. And I said, hey, can I catch a ride? That's it. And I just started riding with him over and back, and we were always down there for 2 days. We would do 2 full tapes. And we did another show for syndication. I forgot what the name of that was.
Explosion, I think.
Something like that. We did something for that. And I would ride with him every week. So getting in the car after the show with Jim, oh my God, it was the most exciting time of the day. And it was goddamn this and that damn Russo. Oh, and he just going, and this guy did this, and this, I hate that bastard. And it was really, because that was my highlight reel of the day. And it was like a 10-minute ride from the studio at Universal back to the hotel. But by the time we'd get there, he'd gotten it all out, and he was much better. So, but I would hear it all then. Very, very. And I wish I just taped some of those, because it would make for great listening.
Orlando to Louisville is 858 miles.
Really?
Yes.
Well, Atlanta to Orlando to Tampa is like 400. And then you got to go through Nashville. Yeah, you got to go through Nashville, which is another 200. And you got to go up to Louisville. Oh,
what was the story about why Cornette hated to fly? What was the one specific incident, or did he ever tell you?
He didn't tell me. He was just afraid to fly. He just was.
Now, going back to the actual question itself, the quote from the video is that you once called Serge the sperm donor. And and everything else that we've just addressed previously. Is there any credence to the rumours that you believe that maybe Dixie Carter was hanging around with some of the male talents purely because she liked them in a non-wrestling sense?
Again, I'm going to plead nolo contendere. I guess that's what you say it in Latin, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I'll say one thing Dixie liked to do. She liked to drink. She could slam them down, buddy. And I don't drink that much. But one night in the, I don't know if it was, I forgot where we stayed at. It was a pretty nice place. They had a good little bar downstairs. So I would go in after everything's over to relax. And somebody have a drink or have a beer. And it didn't take a lot for me, but Dixie, I would be watching her and she'd be, a lot of men couldn't stay with her. And she would just get a little bit more out of control. And so what happened after the bar, you hear all kind of stuff. As far as me personally speaking, I just heard things, but I have no idea if they're true or not. But she had her husband with her too. So which I'm thinking, wait a minute, that couldn't have happened because Serge was with her in the bar. But I kept hearing stuff. So I didn't go and research it. I didn't go and put the Dutch investigative crew or team on it. It was just things I heard. So, but Dixie she was a party animal. And I have to say, she was a lot of fun when she was drinking. She was a hell of a lot of fun.